over 600,000 people go missing in the United States each year. Tens of thousands remain mysteriously missing.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Mysteriously Missing. I'm Justine.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Karen.
Today's episode, we're talking about Elaine Park, and she's been missing since January 28th of 2017.
You know, we chose to do this episode because a year ago, Danielle Hallen did a podcast on this, and she got over 500,000 views. But it's been a year now, and we still haven't found Elaine, so we wanted to do an episode to honor her. And this episode retraces Elaine's last known locations in the greater Los Angeles area. And she started out in Calabasas, California, and ended up in the Malibu area near the Pacific Ocean.
Now, Elaine was last seen in the early morning hours when she left the home of her on-again, off-again boyfriend in Calabasas. A few days later, her car was found parked on Pacific Coast Highway near Coral Canyon in Malibu. The keys to her car were found in the ignition, but Elaine was nowhere to be found.
Elaine is described as having a fondness for pop culture and fashion. She is a Korean American, has a thin build. She's 5'6", about 125 pounds, with brown eyes, brown hair that's long and has blonde tips, and she often wears heavy makeup. She does have her ears and nose pierced, and she has 3 distinctive tattoos. There's a cow skull on her upper left arm, a flower-adorned dagger and cross on her right arm, and then there's a rose on the left front shoulder.
So now Elaine was born on September 24th of 1996. She grew up in La Crescenta, California, which is 15 miles north of Los Angeles. She is known for being outgoing and spunky with a large circle of friends. While a teenager, Elaine was a cheerleader at Crescenta Valley High School, appearing in many productions and joining various dance companies. She was known to participate in musical theater and dance. Elaine was also an aspiring actress. She appeared in several minor roles in both TV shows and movies. Her resume includes small parts in ER, Mad TV, Desperate Housewives, Crazy Stupid Love, and Role Models. After graduating from high school, Elaine attended Pierce College in Los Angeles, and after taking a couple of courses, she had dropped out. It was around this time she got laid off from her job at a local restaurant. Her home life had been difficult in the years since her parents divorced, and Elaine suffered from bouts of depression.
You know, and after at such a young age, she's, done a lot in movie and TV.
It's pretty impressive, yeah.
Now, on January 27th, 2017, Elaine texted her mom, Susan Park, and that was around 9 o'clock at night. And she said she was heading to the movies with her then on-again, off-again boyfriend. Her boyfriend's name is Divine, or they call him Div. And he told the police he and Elaine had gone to a movie and returned home by Uber at approximately 1 a.m. in the morning. His story was later confirmed on surveillance video. Div's family's Calabasas compound, which has both a main house and a guest house, is located in the 2600 block of Delphine Lane. Shortly after they arrived home, they went to sleep. Div is the son of a Hollywood businessman, Shaquem Kempir, and their last name is Kempir. He co-owns Flavor Unit Entertainment with Queen Latifah.
So now January 28th of 2017, it's a Saturday. Div also told authorities that Elaine abruptly woke up at about 4 a.m. shaking, which he said was probably due to a panic attack. He tried to get her to stay, but she had left. She was wearing a white sweatshirt, denim shorts, and possibly gray sweatpants. Surveillance captured Elaine walking to her car 2 hours later at about 6:05 a.m., not appearing distressed. Then the camera shows Elaine's vehicle leaving her boyfriend's house. On a separate surveillance tape given to Susan, which is her mom, Elaine's vehicle can be seen exiting the neighborhood through the secured community gate. Police again state they are certain it is Elaine driving the car. Susan, on the other hand, says it was almost pitch black out at the time of the video, and there was no way to tell for sure who's driving. although she did confirm the license plate on the video that matched Elaine's. Susan also has pointed out that if the timestamp on the Community Gate surveillance camera is correct, there is 69 minutes of unaccounted for time from when she supposedly left her boyfriend's home to when she is seen leaving the neighborhood. However, if the timestamp is simply an hour off, this would make the time she left at 6:14 a.m., only 9 minutes after leaving the boyfriend's house, and a much more reasonable time frame.
You can watch the video on YouTube, the surveillance video, but also in California there is a time change. So in the spring and some winter we change it an hour. So if these people didn't change their clocks, that may be what
the time would be off. Now, that Saturday, her mom attempted to text her back, but there was no response. Given Elaine's private nature, she didn't think too much of this and wasn't alarmed when she didn't return home that day.
Now, on Sunday, there was still no response from Elaine. And so on Monday, the family reported Elaine missing to the Glendale Police Department, which is where Elaine lives with her mom. And then February 2nd, Thursday, this is 5 days later, a sheriff's patrol deputy noticed her unattended 2015 charcoal gray Honda Civic. He ran the plate and learned of the missing person connection. It was on the left shoulder of the 26,000 block of Pacific Coast Highway just south of Coral Canyon Road in Malibu. And if you look at that location at the 26,000 block, it's right on the beach.
Elaine's car was unlocked with her keys still in the ignition. Inside the car was her cell phone, backpack with a laptop inside, makeup, and money. The light switch was actually in the on position, but the car's battery was dead, and the location was approximately 15 miles from her boyfriend's house. No information has surfaced to explain why Elaine would have driven in this direction. The path from her boyfriend's house to where the location of her car was found is very windy and in the opposite direction of her residence with her mother. A search and rescue team and detectives have been searching for her utilizing 4 bloodhounds, Sergeant Williams said. He said the search took place today along the Pacific Coast Highway near Coral Canyon and near the Malibu Motorhome Park.
You know, where her car was found, it's not an isolated area. There's businesses and houses nearby, and PCH is a very busy little highway. It's popular along the beach towards Malibu and towards Pepperdine University, where a lot of students attend. And she would have arrived at about 6:30 in the morning if she left the estate or her boyfriend's house at about 6. And sunrise on that day was about 7 in the morning. So why was her car lights on?
I know, that's a little weird. And then her keys were still in there, her laptop, everything.
It's a natural instinct when you pull over to just kind of switch off your lights if you're stopping. So for those to be on and then her battery dying like the car was left on, that's confusing to me. Did she panic and bail at that point and just run out of the car and leave it running? But
when if you think, let's say the car broke down or something and then she called for a ride, you wouldn't leave all your stuff in the car. You know what I mean?
That makes more sense that she might have broken down and then something happened to the battery and it had died.
But you still wouldn't leave your laptop, money, any of that behind. Her cell phone.
The other thing is, if you do stop and leave your lights on, eventually the battery is going to go dead.
You know what? I mean, just talking about this, she could have pulled over because she might have been having an issue with the battery or something. Maybe someone else pulled over to try and help her and something happened. I mean,
Also, when you're having a panic attack and it escalates, at that point you you couldn't drive. I mean,
right.
It can go into such a bad episode that you just have to bail.
And the other weird thing though, she came down this windy road, but she's heading in the opposite direction of where she lived at her mom's house.
Not making sense.
Yeah. So everything's just backwards.
Yeah, it's
weird.
She's definitely not making rational sense. If that is her in the car. So
right, exactly. We still it's her car. We know that for sure. The license plate matches everything, but
was she abducted when she walked out of the estate?
Was someone hiding in the car
on the street?
Yeah.
And then that's what happened, and she was, And they're not even sure when they found when the car was left there. So we'll get into that. Sergeant Williams said the finding changed the investigation from a voluntary missing person case to an involuntary missing person one. And then he goes on to say what was suspicious about it was the key was inside the vehicle, inside the ignition, and some of Elaine's personal property was found inside the vehicle. For someone to leave those things in the vehicle is suspicious enough for us to escalate this investigation. The car was then transported to police headquarters for detailed forensic examination. There was no evidence of a struggle, but it could not be determined for certain whether Elaine had driven the car to Malibu or, as we talked about, someone else, nor whether she was in the car when it arrived.
I just kind of jumping back in here, I think she might have pulled over. Like we said, maybe there was an issue with the car. And I was trying to kind of play that in my head. If you pull over, maybe you thought you had a flat tire or something. It's dark. You leave the lights on. You usually leave your car running. You get out and you start walking around your car to see what's going on. Most people wouldn't grab, backpack, cell phone to just get out and look on the other side of the car.
Outside of the car.
Maybe someone pulled over, saw that she needed help, and just took her right then and there and left the car in on mode.
She's a tiny little thing.
Exactly. So all of her stuff was left behind. Obviously no struggle because she was already out of the vehicle looking at what's going on. That's just kind of my thought. I mean,
that is a possibility.
Sergeant William continued, "We can't rule foul play in or out because plain and simple, we don't have any evidence to do so. After a day of searching, no sign of Elaine was found and the search was suspended. Elaine's mother went to Coral Beach armed with flyers to post. She reached out to visitors, nearby residents, and shopkeepers, not so much out of fear police had missed something, but more out of sense of personal duty. She wanted to find someone who could help unravel the mystery. Respecting her cultural background, her mom did not want the attention on her, but had to do something." Speaking with NBC4, she turned to the camera and spoke directly to her daughter. "Elaine, if you're out there, please come home. Please give me a second chance to mend our relationship," she said. So hearing this quote from her mom, I just kind of feel like that little phrase in there, "please give me a second chance to mend our relationship," it's almost like she's feeling responsible for her daughter missing, like almost as if she had ran away from home.
Yeah, and moms and daughters have conflictive relationships, especially when daughters are at a young age. And yet Elaine is a very productive young lady. She's had an amazing life already and only 20 years of age. So, it's never on the mom, but yeah, she is feeling kind of guilty when something this severe happens. On this mission, Miss Park was joined by two of Elaine's friends and two staffers from the Korea Times newspaper. "It's just so strange," said her friend Sadie Gross. "I'm just hoping somebody has information they can share." And that was from Emily Limon. They both met Elaine while they were students at the Crescenta Valley High School. Here's an audio clip of Elaine's friends out supporting her mother and wondering what happened.
"It's just so strange. I don't see her coming here at 7 or 6 or 5 in the morning and just sitting here."
I think that at this point it was probably an abduction because I don't think anyone would leave anywhere without their phone.
With that, Elaine's mom went back to the task of searching for help, planning a trip to nearby Pepperdine University to check with students, while Emily and Sadie headed to one of Elaine's favorite hangouts, which was the Venice Boardwalk, on the chance that she somehow made it there.
So now February 4th, 2017, it's a Saturday. Another search began about 7 a.m. and ended around noon, according to Glendale Police Sergeant Robert William. The 3-day search ended with no sign of Elaine. At this time, detectives will be refocusing on family and friends, he said. Police spoke to Elaine's boyfriend and took surveillance footage from the area. It showed Elaine walking toward her car, but police were unable to see if she got into it and therefore couldn't conclude if it was indeed her driving away or if it was somebody else.
And that's what we talked about, that it was maybe parked outside of the estate, outside the gates, and not sure if she did get in.
If it was truly her driving, yeah. Now, investigators say Elaine's boyfriend has been cooperative throughout the investigation and is not considered a suspect. With the case going cold, Elaine's family hired a private investigator who has told reporters that new leads have been developed that suggest foul play. They've searched both in the Santa Monica Mountains and the Angeles National Forest but found no trace.
You know, I'm wondering why at this point they're saying foul play.
I mean, I was kind of thinking they just have nowhere else to go based on
the evidence of her just walking away from the car and all her things, that is where it's pointed.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Now, family and friends have searched the area over and over again, but there is no sign of Elaine. Several of her classmates and friends from Crescenta Valley High School have been to the area on PCH or Pacific Coast Highway where her car was found, and they continue getting the word out, hoping someone will have the information that leads authorities to her. The family continues to ask for any information or photos of Elaine the night she left the Calabasas home.
Now, on March 8, 2017, at a news conference, Glendale Police, the Korean American Federation of Los Angeles, and deputies from the Malibu and Lost Hills, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Station called for help in finding Elaine. So far, every lead that we've had and every physical search we've conducted were exhausted, and we haven't had any luck in terms of the leads that we've gotten from tips, and that was according to Sergeant William. However, officials said multiple times during the news conference that they are not looking at Elaine's boyfriend as a person of interest or as a suspect. Up to this point, there hasn't been any evidence or suspicion to get into him or accuse him. He's been cooperative. He's given us more information than anyone else has to date. The family has been very cooperative to give us information and their security camera information. They've been supportive with our investigation. Could that change later? Sure. But that's only if we get some sort of information of some sort of lead to take us there.
The case has spurred the Korean American Federation of LA into action. We need the public and our community to come forward with any information you may have regarding Elaine Park's disappearance. And that was said by the Korean American Federation of LA. Vice President Emily Mack at the news conference, which was held in Los Angeles at the Federation's headquarters. Susan Park, Elaine's mother, said she's appreciative of the support she's received from the Korean American Association and all others, but she is worried about her daughter. I think it's too late now, she said after the news conference. I feel like because it's the 33rd day, I feel like we've wasted time. The only thing left is to just spread the word and do an on-foot search around Calabasas and the hiking area of Coral Canyon.
So now she's including Calabasas, which is, you know, if you look at the estate where her boyfriend lives, it's really a kind of a remote area out there with a lot of terrain that is not populated by houses. In September of 2017, previously unreleased surveillance footage was shared with the public showing an unknown vehicle that looks to be a SUV in the Calabasas area around the time Elaine was last leaving her boyfriend's house. The vehicle struck investigators as odd, as there's no reason for it to be there at that time, and thus they sent out a plea for information regarding its owner. It is not known at this time if police were able to find the car or identify who was driving it. So again, we talked about that theory of somebody else being in that area when she left at dark.
Right.
That same month, Elaine's high school organized an event to raise awareness about the case. The school's cheerleaders wore yellow ribbons on their uniforms as a sign of solidarity with the Park family.
So now it's September 12th. Elaine's mother went before the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors and asked them to transfer the case to the LA County Sheriff's Department. Specifically, I do not feel Glendale Police Department has been doing nearly enough to investigate the case and following up thoroughly on leads. I'm appealing and pleading for your help, Susan Park said. And Glendale is about 30 miles from Calabasas.
And then another, 40 miles to Coral Beach. So
Right.
It is kind of hard to investigate when the area is that far away from the police headquarters.
Exactly. Now, Sergeant Williams said he had not heard about the request and added the mother is looking for a criminal investigation. On Friday, Susan's mother said from conversations that she had had, it was not legally possible to transfer the case to the sheriff's department.
And now it's September 24th, 2017. It's Elaine's 21st birthday. It's 8 months after she disappeared. Her mother is not giving up. She asked the public for help in locating her daughter, Elaine, and there is a $500,000 reward for her daughter that expired, and she's trying to figure out what had done next. So I guess somebody put up $500,000 and gave it a time limit, which is quite a lot of money, and hoping to encourage somebody to speak
to come
up.
forward, right.
And then it expired, and so they withdrew it, which makes sense. So I don't know what else to do, the mom said. People are saying the money will have people talk, but that didn't happen. And Sergeant Williams said on Friday there's no new tips that were generated from the reward. The case will remain open until there's a resolution, he said.
November 22nd of 2017, Rolling Stone writer Neil Strauss partnered with Incubus guitarist Mike Einziger, hopefully I'm saying that right, were wearing t-shirts with Find Elaine Park to raise awareness. Mike and his wife Marie lived in the area where Elaine went missing. Appearing on KROQ, they asked the public for help to keep the search for Elaine going.
And just before the 1-year anniversary of her disappearance, a hiker did discover a body in the Malibu Bluffs Park, not far from where Elaine's car had been found. The police did investigate, and they said, we were aware of that the moment it happened, and due to the location, we did investigate, but we looked into that immediately, and that was not Elaine.
Now, January 28th of 2018, this is 1 year after Elaine went missing, Elaine's family and friends came together to mark the occasion as well as to announce a new $140,000 reward set to expire on June 1st of 2018, so about a 6-month time frame right there, and it was later extended through the end of 2018. Given their feeling that investigators weren't doing enough to solve the case, Elaine's family hired private investigator Jaden Brandt. He searched the Santa Monica Mountains and Angeles National Park but found nothing. Through his own investigation, he received tips he says lean toward foul play. Relationship change, circumstances change. Maybe now is the time for them to come forward, Jaden said. If somebody knows something, why not come forward today and not wait 6 months from now?
So this sounds like it might be a new private investigation firm that they hired.
Yeah, because we mentioned that they had hired one a few months back.
Yeah, and sometimes PIs don't work out. Some of them are very effective, like all professionals, and some aren't. October 30th, 2018, police recently requested the submission of photographs taken in the area where Elaine's car was found, and that's around the time of January 28th through February 2nd. This is to help verify or disprove the theory that Elaine's car was already in Malibu at least 2 days prior to it being located. There's a lot of people around. Somebody out there has photos or videos of the moment she arrived. It's just a matter of reaching that person and helping them realize what they have.
No new major developments in the case have come to light. However, Glendale Police Department say they continue to receive tips and are following up on each one that is called in. One example is a tip we received from an out-of-state man, Sergeant Dan Suttle said. The man who contacted him was not an investigator by trade, but found the case interesting and had a theory that involved mountain lions. Elaine's car was parked across from a large, open, mountainous area. The tipster thought she may have hiked up into the area and had been attacked by a mountain lion. Even though this may sound like an unlikely scenario, investigators took the tip seriously. They reached out to a local scientist who specialized in mountain lions in the Malibu area and was familiar with tracking them. The investigation found no evidence that supported the tip, but you never know where a piece of information is going to lead, he said. It is smart that they looked into it, though. I mean, anything could have happened.
It's not much of a tip, so they really are reaching for tips. But, it is good that they did follow through.
She could have easily gone hiking, but again, why leave your cell phone
If you're having a panic attack, you could run out into the wilderness. 2 years after Elaine disappeared, Susan Park has worked tirelessly to remind the public her daughter is missing, raising reward money and working with private investigators. To date, Elaine's mom is uncertain if investigating agency Glendale Police Department has yet to unlock Elaine's cell phone. That seems like it would be important, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she left it behind.
The private investigator they initially hired is no longer working the case. Though Dev was ruled out as a suspect early on, Susan Park is not satisfied that he has no knowledge of her daughter's disappearance, as he stated to detectives.
As days go by, my hope finding her gets cloudy and I'm losing hope, says Elaine's mom. It is very difficult to be in the same house with her shadows lingering, with memories of her laughter and my visual memories. I feel very sad. I miss her very much, she said. I never got to say I love you.
Yeah, this is a case that we would love to find out what happened to Elaine. You know, we do need to remind the listeners that there was a fire called the Woolsey wildfire, and it was in the area where her car was found, and that was November of 2018. I'm not sure it quite reached as far as where her car was, but it's very close. Mm-hmm. And if she did go off into the wilderness area, there would be some evidence that might have because that was a really intense fire.
Right.
Got ruined.
I still just go back to the day that they found her car. I mean, you pull over, your lights are still in the on position, like the switch is turned on, but the battery's dead. So it must have been left sitting there for a while, you know, and then your cell phone, your money, your makeup, everything is just left in your car.
And I keep going back to the panic attack. You're in a very vulnerable state at that time. So anybody that came upon her may have engaged with her. And as we said, she's not she's a small young girl.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like, and they said there's no sign of like forcible entry or, you know, like no windows broken
they did
or anything
a forensic
like that.
evaluation on the car, and there was just nothing that looked suspect in that respect.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think somebody pulled up and pretty much abducted her. I mean, I'd hate to say that, but it just seems so like it just could have happened, you know, that easily. She drove off.
She is a beautiful young girl.
Yeah.
Well, we hope this case is solved. And the Facebook page, Rosemary Wheeler reached out to Susan Park, Elaine's mom, an acquaintance from the dance studio their daughter shared, and she offered help by creating the Facebook page Help Find Elaine Park. And they have about 7,300 followers.
If you know anything about Elaine's case, you can also contact the Glendale Police Department. Their phone number is 818-548-9411, or call a tip line, which was set up by the family at 1-800-551-3080, or you can visit Elaine Park's website, which is www.elainepark.tips, TIPS.
And if you have any information you'd like to share with us, you can contact mysteriously-missing411@gmail.com.
Also, check out our Instagram, Mysteriously Missing. We post pictures and maps, and if there was a car involved, we always try and kind of keep you guys in the loop of everything. Check out our YouTube page. We post episodes every week. Just help spread the word, help get this case out there. I mean, the more people that know about this, the better.
Yeah, this has been way too long that this young lady's been missing, and we'd just love to have her found.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.